what's going on, guys? Arekkz here, whole squad here today. What's good? We're talking about Monster Hunter Rise, the demo. This time we're talking about our impressions. We've been playing it for quite some time now. We've been sinking many quests in and having a lot of fun. So we thought it was finally time to sit down and do another discussion video. You guys seem to enjoy these over the Christmas period, which is awesome. So we can do more of these if you guys want to see them later on. But today we're talking about the demo. Obviously, just the demo, because the full game isn't out yet. Not for, a little while. So, yeah, we're going to kind of talk about things that we like, things we want to see changed, hopes, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, let's begin. Guys, how's it going?
How you doing?
It's good,
Hello.
yeah.
It's good.
I feel like we do actually have a little bit to say about this because we had a few difference of opinion before playing it, right? About like the graphics, the Switch with like how many frames are we gonna get? How is it gonna play? Considering that like we've all just come off of World and the past Monster Hunter game have their control scheme and Worlds has its own different combos and all of that. So I think I can start off. For me personally, I've been quite enjoying the demo. I was here saying, that these trailers, the graphics, they didn't look that good, and there are some areas in the demo where the graphics really like grate on me, but I think the overall experience is like I can overlook the graphics when I'm Spider-Man slinging through the sky like infinitely to then dunk a bomb on a freaking monster that you could like not do before. So I really like a lot of the new stuff, and it's been really fun trying all the different weapons as well and seeing like, what's changed, how does it feel. Although one thing I do really want to talk about is, coming off of a lot of hours in Monster Hunter World, going to like that different control scheme, and like even with the Pro Controller, which is like the best way to play it, right? It's still, I'm there on my Switch hacks, like I know how to use Switch hacks, and then I'm just putting the wrong inputs in to begin with. But now we've played it a lot, you kind of get used to it. Your like muscle memory sort of changes to the Switch controls, and it's starting to feel more and more like that like you're home when you're playing Monster Hunter feeling.
So it's just a little sort of mental reprogramming. There's definitely that element of it, because like even to a degree, like it's funny to sort of see how we progress as well, because like the first demo, like I'm super excited for it, I'm loving every minute of it, but even the first, like when I picked up like Sword and Shield, which is super familiar for me, because there's that element where you need to factor in now the wire bug controls. There were the first few hunts that just felt weird and kind of clunky, and just like, oh wait, I feel like awkward doing this, and then suddenly it started to all fall into place. And like now that you're wire bugging without even thinking about it, you're just like, get knocked over, wire full dash, get over here, like pull off this move. Now when it starts to all fall into place, you're like, I'm home. This is good, because whew.
I still think like when we said the stuff at the beginning, where the graphics and the controls and the combos and there not being any new weapons is 100% a true thing. I know people in the comments right now are going to be like, graphics are not important. That's true, but a game should be a package. It should be like a good story. It should have good game design, and it could have a good like gameplay, and they're all like part of one system, right? The game has good gameplay, but also at the same time, if it had good graphics, it would be a better game. In my opinion.
Agree.
100% agree. I know people are going to disagree with that, but
I mean, it's fine though, because the thing is, at the end of the day, just before this, obviously, before you jump in, I think it's important to note, everyone enjoys games in different ways, right? There is no right or wrong way. Like some people, graphics are like a big, heavy immersion thing. Other people, it's not. So there is no like right or wrong about it, right? It's like, it's completely fine.
I kind of disagree with that in a point, because like having better graphics isn't necessarily going to detract from the gameplay, but having better graphics
I can come in with a really great
gameplay.
Example of that is like the Demon's Souls remake on PlayStation 5. Like there's no way I would have got the same enjoyment if I went back and played the original. Just look at the graphics of. I watched a lot of videos from the original just to see what it was like after playing the remake, and it is a big difference. So the graphics definitely add into like your immersion and all of that, but like you just said, like the gameplay is quite good actually.
It's so good. That's why I don't mind too much, because like I guess what I really enjoy about the visuals for this one, like I'm not too. I mean, I know obviously I play a lot of stuff on Nintendo. Graphics have never been as prevalent for me anyway. But I just love the vibrancy of this. Like this brings back all those like For Ultimate Generations memories where I'm just like the colors are great. Like you look at from the recent trailer and you see like the vibrancy of like the hub, and you see all the kind of crazy bright armor sets and the like over the top weapons. I'm like, this is what I wanted. So I think
old school Monster Hunter fans in general just like pain, man. If there isn't a struggle to play the game, like it's just a madness. I tweeted out yesterday as just like some banter that like if I see you using Joy-Con to play this game, you're in big trouble. I'm gonna report you. And then somebody in the comments replied perfectly and was like, "Hey, I've been playing since Freedom Unite. I remember playing with like no pro controller and no pro circle like D-pads and all of that stuff. So like." If you're not using that crab controls and you're not mashing up your hand to play Monster Hunter,
shout out to the crab control. That was the crab.
Well, I'm surprised at how many people are playing this on Switch Lite though. Like so many people. I didn't realize they're so popular.
Totally. I've heard like a lot of people are playing it on there. I mean, just quickly stopping about the graphics discussion again. I think you'd be very like hard pressed, or well, it is weird to me that there are people who would say that better graphics aren't a good thing. Like I understand. Like I'm someone who obviously I don't mind the graphics, like and that's fine. Like I don't mind like that they're like lesser than World at the moment, but and I don't need that to like enjoy it or anything. But if it was like World, it would be better. I don't see how.
I mean, no,
ever not be better. You know what I mean? Like,
it's never like another World. It's like it would never detract from the experience. But I guess it's like it's not mandatory for us to be able to enjoy it because we are having like a ton of fun with it. I think I
do have an example of where like bad graphics are impacting the gameplay. I know you can turn them off, but like particle effects, they're so much more refined in World, so that you can see a lot more stuff going on. In this one, is just a cluster of
it can get a bit hectic.
That is downplaying it, Alex. You literally cannot see what is going on sometimes. So
like one example, you KO a monster, it's so easy to see that normally in previous monster games. They have big sparkle effects on the head. In this one, if everyone's playing a weapon that has a lot of visuals like Hunting Horn or something, it's just constant flashing effects, spinning around, like, you know, all of that stuff. And I struggle to see like what exactly has happened at certain points, and I like to keep track so I know like, oh, this is like the first KO, the second KO, or like, oh, it's been poisoned for 2 times now, that sort of thing. And it is quite a lot harder in this one to do that. But on the flip side, it's pretty cool when there's stuff popping up. You know?
Definitely. To be fair, I think it's mainly an issue with the KO graphic around this time around. I seem to recall it used to be like basically like the Flash graphic where it was stars above the head, and that was like very clear, right?
Very well defined before. Like, no, that is very true. Like KO has always been very obvious to see. There are times in this one when a monster's down, you're like, is that a KO? Is it not? Like,
a trip? Like, what was that? Yeah, definitely.
There's also partly, you know, the potential as well, where they always seem to do this. They love to let us play on like a foresty map to begin with, and the foresty maps always just look a bit muddy. I'm like, I wonder whether when we're playing on the snowy tundra, whether it will be super defined or in the volcano or something, or like whatever it is. So it's they always I don't know why. I don't know why they love to just start with a forest. Probably just because it goes back to day one, where it's like, you know, you're flying through like the original plains with like Rathalos and like, but forests just look kind of boring a lot. I mean, it's still a cool map, but you know what I mean. But
definitely.
Yeah. But let's talk about weapons, because weapons is, you know, weapons are obviously great. You know, they have the core foundation in World, so obviously it's great that anyone that's coming over, because moveset wise, a lot of it is very similar to World. But I think it's interesting because we've all gone through like a journey, right? A lot of us have picked up weapons that say we liked initially, and we're like, and then we started to sort of change where we were going to play in Rise, and then we've kind of gone back and sort of rediscovered them. So we've definitely gone through this sort of discovery period. I mean, like for me, Sword and Shield was the first one. Like I've loved that weapon from day, right? And then the first time I picked it up in Rise, I was like, doesn't feel as smooth. So I started just like experimenting and messing around with other weapons, because, you know, we play all the weapons anyway. And then it was only that I, like, after spending more and more time with it and discovering more nuance to it, that now I'm just like, oh, Sword and Shield is amazing. Like I'm back. I'm fully invested. I'm fully on the Sword and Shield main train for the full game again.
To like begin with, I think we were all under the impression that everything's just a bit more slow, a bit more sluggish. I can't quite get out of some animations, some attacks as quickly as I could in like the past games or in World, and that was like a deterrent for us. It was like, oh, everything just feels a little bit more like I'm stuck in place. And that was until we realized that the Silkbind moves aren't just there for the perfect moment. They're there just to be used as part of your core combo constantly. You know, you can literally use them to super armor through a roar or through an attack, like almost instantly on a lot of weapons that have those, you know, short dash moves, or like the switch axes are a big like flurry of attacks, and you can do that as well to cancel out of different like attacks and use it almost as an evade. So initially I definitely felt like I was being super slow on a lot of weapons, and I was like, oh, I just got hit when normally I would have dodge rolled that. But then you sort of realize actually the whole core like gameplay is centered around incorporating those new moves, and that took a little bit of getting used to, obviously, because it's new.
Definitely.
I do feel like a couple of weapons feel, I don't know, it's a weird thing. Like, I'm satisfied, but then I'm unsatisfied, because I feel like the hunting horn is so good, and it's just got been like reworked so like massively that I wish like some other weapons had that treatment, or they added in some new weapons to the game. I feel like if there's a sequel to Monster Hunter, and it's like 2 years later, that they should have added in like a new weapon. I remember when Charge Blade came in and like Insect Glaive came in, it was like huge. And I feel like Hunting Horn is almost like that. It's like a complete like rework. But playing with like some of the other weapons, such as like Longsword, at the very beginning at least, I was like, this is a mere experience, because it never it was basically like World Longsword just with the additional Silkbind moves. But
some cases as well, right?
Yeah, but now. Yeah, now I kind of know what it is and what it does. I'm still like, it would have been nice if we got some additional crazy stuff going on. But the fact that it is like one of the most OP weapons in the demo, like, I'm just like, okay, cool. I can deal with this. Like this, the Helmbreaker is so good. All of the new like flows for stuff is so good that I can jam with this.
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean though, because there's definitely that element where. Because also, you know, prior to playing the demo, all we saw were like tiny little snippets in the weapon previews, right? And obviously the way that they framed it, the way they showed it, was a lot of the time, a lot of weapons looked like they had quite a lot of new stuff, and they still do. Like you know, there's no downplaying the fact that the Silkbind does heavily change the way we play. But the reality is, now that we played the demo, a lot of the weapons, it's very similar to like base world, you know, movements, which is, you know, fair enough. There's always an element of base movesets that carry through anyway, and there's always like small subtle changes, which, you know, to be expected. But I know what you mean. Like when you go from something like Hunting Horn, you're like, yo, this it literally feels like a different weapon altogether. It might as well be like a 15th weapon. You kind of think to yourself, I wish like especially considering, you know, because you can compare it as well. Like you can say, all right, Hunting Horn got like a drastic change. You know, Sword and Shields had a few like new enough elements to feel different. Like Switch Axe had a few changes, Longsword. But then on the flip side, the other end of it, you've got a few weapons that, largely speaking, haven't got too much. You know, Lance has got like, at least from what we've seen in the demo, you know, they're obviously from the trailers, we've seen some moves that aren't in the demo, so there's obviously more to it than, you know, we know right now.
Well, just to step in, like, even Lance has got like at least one cool thing, which is when you stick the dagger into the monster. Like 2Six literally showed this to me yesterday. You stick them with the dagger, and then you can do like this jump attack from really far away, constantly.
So
like once you've done that move, you are stuck to that monster if you want to. And that's like a really cool thing about the Lance. And then you look at like the Insect Glaive. Now I was never an Insect Glaive main, but I used to love using the. You guys used to know I would get the Insect Glaive out. We get like 2 or 3 mounts. I could be chopping tails because you can just do that with the aerial combos quite consistently. And now that every weapon has like mount damage built in with the Silkbind attacks, and the fact that Insect Glaive, like the new moves it got is like a backwards jump and a like forwards jump when it could already jump. What have they done to my Insect Glaive? It's like I can't bring it out to mount anymore because everyone can already do that. I can't really bring it out for DPS because Insect Glaive's never been like the most optimal DPS, but so it's
got
like
some good damage on the ground though.
But the ground
fly now though.
You can fly on every character now.
No, but you can like fly.
So, no, but to be fair, you've also got you know, again, I think that's one of the ones where this is what we're sort of talking about, where the discrepancy here is that, like, you know, the base moveset when you don't factor in Silkbinds is largely speaking very similar. When you factor in Silkbinds, that starts to change things. So even, you know, with Lance, but for Insect Glaive, you know, there was like the damaging move we saw from the previews that we don't get to test out. So maybe they just chose the wrong Silkbind moves for the demo, and they just they should have just chosen something else. So I don't know, but we'll see. It means we've got more to discover, right?
Arekkz loves all the weapons regardless. He's just glad that there's a new Monster Hunter game coming for him to play.
I'm like one of those proud blind parents who's like, no, my son is good. My son is good at maths. My son is good at science.
First day, we're all sitting in the chat just like roasting stuff down. Vest is kind of impartial about everything, but me and Paradise are just like, this weapon is meh. It's come back. It's this rubbish. What is this? And then like Alex is just like, no guys. Insect glaive, brilliant.
Oh my God.
Hammer, brilliant. What else is that? Just
man, the nuance.
bow.
I will say, like,
the bow.
Do we want
to talk about the bow for a minute?
I mean, yeah, like one thing I will say, like, while I've been having a good time with like a lot of the weapons, heavy bow gun for me has been like a revelation.
Yeah,
the bow guns, both of them.
Both of them, in fact, have been really good. But I'm someone who would usually like my ranged weapon go-to has always been the bow. That's like the weapon I started with. And just basically, I think 2.6 is kind of starting to crack it, but I cannot use bow in the demo. Like, I'm just so bad with it. Like, it feels very sluggish to me. It feels just, I don't know, it feels like it's lost a lot of what we got in Worlds, which at the time, like, World Bow, it was basically a complete overhaul. It's amazing. You can like shoot to charge. You don't have to like charge and spin like you used to have to do on like Monster Hunter 4 and like in, well, I guess Generations was different. But yeah, like, and it's probably an unpopular opinion. I really like old bow. Like, I like standing there and charging as opposed to like shooting, dashing and stuff like that. But I've gotten so used to World's kind of like play style now that I mean, the first thing is that stamina usage on this set is horrible. Like, you literally run out of stamina like, immediately. And I know what's it called, like something that 2.6 found out, which has kind of helped, is that obviously the Silkbind, one of the Silkbind moves allows you to quickly regen that stamina, but it's still a weird flow to me. Like, I'm still having trouble getting, at least on the ranged weapons, getting out of the mindset that the Silkbind moves are like, sort of like a thing you're supposed to use once in a blue moon, especially because the button combination for the ranged weapon is so awkward, right? It's a completely different one compared to the blades and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of like it's an odd one. What's your take on bow 2.6? Because I know you've played a lot.
That's alright. I just think it's the setup that they have for the demo is like just clapped.
Yeah,
it's very similar to WoW, but they've changed it so you don't do like a 3 hit combo where it's like normal shot, power shot, normal shot anymore. It's like normal shot, power shot, and it just feels a bit of, I don't know, it feels ultra clunky. Hopefully, if there are like additional Silkbind moves in the final game, there are like ones that change it. Like you said, it would be pretty cool for it to come back like old bow style, so that you could like maybe get additional damage or something for like
like
more
just choose between the two.
Yeah,
cool.
Because it is kind of long, just like dodging all the time.
Yeah,
like
it's lost its novelty. Definitely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sad that they got rid of coconuts and
yeah, bro. Arekkz's gone. Arekkz's gone. It's like, no.
Could it be that it's linked to the bow that you have, or is it just that they're gone like forever? Because that was definitely a really good part of bow that just gave it that extra utility, and you could incorporate in your combos as well. So you could like skip out certain moves or finish a combo to get them more of the coconuts, right? So
yeah, exactly. One thing I am interested in, I assume this isn't going to be the case because you've basically got every other coating on this bow, but obviously they've added in the exhaust coating, which has never been a thing for bow, like the closest thing being Generations, like Sword and Shield exhaust oil, right? Which is interesting because I remember exhaust oil being very, very potent. That's the one that was the go-to. You never really used to use the other two, so like, I am excited to see how that plays out. Like, maybe bow's going to be premier status in this thing, in this game. So I'd be interested to see how that pans out. But it would be sick if there's like another coating or something.
You know what's interesting, right? I heard that you can't craft all anymore.
Oh wait, what would you mean?
No,
you can only craft one by one.
Oh wait, but didn't they? Do they still have the thing where you just hold down the button and it just goes like super fast?
I don't know.
Or is it just because? Yeah, it might just be that in the demo you can't craft all because you can't access the item menu to be able to put it on the wheel. So I feel like it would be weird for them to take that out. I mean, yeah, in the demo you definitely
you know what's
Stranger
also weird?
things have happened.
You know what's also weird? The fact that you can't use your analog stick on the main menu, but there it is. We're here.
True.
Yeah, true.
So guys, like that are watching this video, how many of you guys use gyro controls, and why are you ashamed of them?
Oh my gosh.
Joking. No, but like everybody's telling me like praising the gyro controls, and it's interesting. I want to give it a try and see how it actually is, and maybe get good with it. But we turned it on stream yesterday. What are the settings for it? Like, what do you need to use for like gyro controls?
But I don't understand why you want to use them, apart from maybe for a bow gun. Why would you want to use like if I'm using a sword and shield? Why would I ever want to gyro my way around?
Don't be closed-minded. People are saying that they're using it for like the silk bug and everything, and it actually like changes the way that the game plays like completely, and it actually plays pretty sick. So
I picture now. Do you remember that 2004 or 2005 Sony press conference when they announced like the PS3 this expensive price, and there was the guy that was like flying around with his hands, like pretend like trying to fly the controller around. That's how I picture people playing the thing like wow. Like, are you serious?
Oh my gosh.
I like the idea of it, but if you actually just turn it on in the options, it does not feel right.
You know what it is? I think it's because we were playing gyro with almost on like a monitor, right? Yeah. It's like a stationary viewpoint. Like I think like gyro usually works best. Like obviously, you know, we were streaming yesterday and we were talking about how it works in like Splatoon, right? With socks. And essentially, like, whenever I would do that, I would be playing in handheld because, like, doing that on, like, a screen, like, is just really jarring. Like, yesterday I was saying I was getting a little bit of, like, motion sickness with it. And motion sickness is not a thing I experience. Like, I love VR. That was, like, just crazy to me. So, what's cool? I feel like it would be much more, it'd feel a lot better because, like, the point of reference for your, like, you know, the game is moving alongside you actually moving the thing, so it'd feel like a lot more natural, like in Breath of the Wild.
Might be like you have to do a handheld to get the most out of it.
So what you got to do, 2Six, you got to play with the Joy-Cons in handheld.
Got to play with the Joy-Cons for that.
No, never. Oh my gosh. What were we saying about, I don't know, Turf Wars being kind of non-existent, but existing, but not
I'm still confused. Yeah, because some of the trailers have clearly shown, like we saw in the most recent trailer, we saw Magnum Arlo quite literally dive bombing Rathalos to the ground. We also saw in one of the very, very early trailers, Tetranodon picks up and almost eats Azeroth, right? So we've seen that in there are select animations that seem to exist, but they don't seem to exist in the kind of conventional sense. So I don't know whether it's one of those ones where there's just a very small selection of ones that are pre-programmed and the rest of them just don't exist. But yeah, because that was always a cool thing.
I think I know the answer.
Yeah.
The Nintendo Switch just can't handle it.
No. Never that.
I looked like quite extensively through all the Hunter's notes, and in the Hunter's notes, it does like actually say Turf War in like one of the areas. Like I can't remember where, but I remember seeing it and being like, okay. So they are in this game. However, I'm starting to wonder if the because I've seen like Izuchi run up to Azeroth, like you're fighting him, and then they just beeline each other and just do a few attacks at each other, and I'm like, are the Turf Wars just lame now and that's it? They just do a couple of sweeps at each other? Is that the Turf War and there's no pop-up, or is it like just in the demo there's no pop-up so we don't know exactly when
there's
the
actual
Turf
War Wars, but they're probably just disabled or made like been made very less so they don't occur all the time in favor of like the new mounting system. So what is everyone thinking about like the new mounting system and stuff? I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I like riding monsters into battle. I think the best feeling that I got was hunting Rathian and being on the back of him, or as we've been calling him on stream, Rathian, but hunting him, so, and like doing the spin kick. It's like, nice.
She's cool.
There you go. Keep on forgetting Rathalos is
I think the system's like initially really cool, really fun. It's new, like you've never really controlled a monster like that, let alone like made them do attacks at each other, causing the blights to each other as well, which is really nice. Like Rathian's like fireball can set fire onto the enemy just as his tail can poison them. But what was really nice in the previous games is that, you know, you could make a set that revolved around you doing mount damage and getting like 3, maybe even 4 if like everyone's focused on it, mounts throughout one hunt. Whereas now, even if people are spamming like high damage silkbind moves, such as the hunting horns like stab that does like, you know, over 200 of like the blue damage.
Yeah, it's like 300. Yeah.
I find it that, and including using puppet spiders as well, that it's really hard even to get a second mount on the same monster, and I don't.
Unless
that makes me think
like,
like,
it's a demo.
Yeah, it's the demo. There genuinely could be armor skills in game that work towards that thing, so it might be a viable playstyle. The one thing I would say, like go on.
Sorry, I was just on a complete like quickly thing. Like, have we actually seen two? I don't think I've seen two mounts on the same monster before in the same hunt.
I've done it in solo.
Pretty sure
but
I haven't
seen
it.
Okay, so it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But sorry.
Because the thing I was going to say was like, so I mean, I really like the new system. I think it's cool. Obviously, being able to like, you know, all the kind of basic maneuver. The one thing that does annoy me is the pet peeve is that like, sometimes if like you've done a move, say like you've kind of done like a silkbow move and you've like put it into that state like unintentionally, and then you're trying to finish a combo first. If you're playing, like, especially if you're playing solo and you attack next to the monster, you don't even have to put your weapon away and press A. You just attack and it just zips you onto the monster.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to be pulled on straight away. Sometimes, like, I would almost rather just leave it in the down state and use it as a DPS opportunity sometimes. So there have been times when, like, I'm literally lining up like a perfect rush and I'm about to jump in and it's like, nope, let me zip you on the back. And I'm like, I mean, I know obviously then you could just run it into the wall and then knock it down. That's for the most part how I've been using it. I'm just like, I kind of just want to get the monster down quickly. So I just ram it into the wall 3 times and then just jump off and get my combo in. But I do find the auto pulling me onto the monster kind of annoying.
Okay,
yeah.
You heard it here first. That's the only thing that annoys Alex in this whole game is that one mechanic, guys. Go on, best.
Yep.
Funny. No, yeah, because I was basically like, I think one of the cool things about, obviously they added mounting in for you, so to me, since that's when I started, mounting's always been a thing, right? But like, one of the things, like, so rewinding real quick, like this new mounting system, like I'm on the fence about it. Like it's definitely cool, but I do sort of like feel, I feel for what we've lost. Like clutch claws. I don't know why it would be an unpopular opinion, but it seems like it because I saw a lot of people saying they didn't like Clutch Claw. Like, Clutch Claw is sorely missed. Like, I really do miss.
Are you sure you want to say that on a video?
That's fine. I'll say it. Like, what's it called? I really did enjoy.
Say it with your chest, Bess. Go on.
Yeah, I'll say it with my chest. Like, I genuinely enjoyed those mechanics. Like, it informed a lot of like the combos I used to do on like dual blades and stuff like that, which was nice. I guess it made hunts a bit easier, definitely, like the whole like throwing them into walls and stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed that, and then obviously that was separate to traditional mounting, and you know I enjoyed that little mini game. It was simple, right? It's like you do aerial damage. If you're doing aerial damage, you can expect to get a mount. It happens like once you reach the threshold. It's not like it's a lull in the combat and then anyone can take it and like get in with any attack. It's like anyone who's doing mounted damage can expect to get a mount basically, and then you know you do the mini game and then they drop and then everyone gets their damage in, and everyone can get their damage in while the monster's up. Like my issues with the new system, while it is cool, like I love actually being able to control the monsters, I love the new like being able to use their moves. It feels almost like a weird monster fighting game, right? I'm sure there's going to be some fun PvP like moments with that where people are trolling their teammates. I don't even know if you can actually hit your teammates with monster attacks, but anyway, it's just the fact that like someone else could be working on that mount, and then it's like you've got like in your head you're like, okay, you know, you say you're playing longsword, you've built up all your spirit gauge, you're ready to do like a helmbreaker, and it's like you do your helmbreaker and it's like the person's put them into like this downed kind of mounting state, and then your helmbreaker's completely wasted. You get on it. Like it's a minor issue. It's something that can be coordinated around, but it just kind of feels like it's shoehorned in there as a mechanic, especially because it's not just based on mount damage anymore. It's based on the silkbind stuff. So it's like you're probably gonna like, I guess you do have to work for it in 4 players, but you're probably gonna get a mount, and that can mess up like great sword, or because it drops your damage to 1 or 2, like when you hit it and it's in that down state. So yeah, that's one thing that I kind of agree with you there as well, Alex, is that it feels like it almost breaks the hunt up a little bit too much.
Well, there was a couple,
but I guess we'll see.
There was a couple cool things. There's one thing that stands out to me with the Clutch Claw that was like just really cool. You could Clutch Claw onto a monster while you had the Mount Mantle on in World, and then jump off, and the Mount Mantle would trigger the glide, so that you could then go into a mount attack. So
yeah,
that added more depth to mounting builds. or even just taking that mantle so that you can like guarantee at least one mount, depending. Like if you're using Greatsword and you're doing that aerial charge attack after clutch clawing on, that does a lot of mount damage. And so like things like that are out, but now everyone gets mount damage with their Silkbind. So it's a trade-off, but I don't know.
I think the other reason they had to do it, right? I think part of the reason they had to do that, or they chose that change as well, is because if conventional mounting was in and every single person can just wire bug into the sky and slap a monster, you would literally be mounting 24/7. So they obviously had to put some kind of system in whereby it wasn't just predicated on like aerial attacks, because everyone's now an aerial hunter basically.
That's true.
So I understand the logic behind it. It's just it's different, but I do still like the system. It's cool. Like I can't wait to see what like mounting some. What I want to see is when you find the crazy. You know, like every Monster Hunter game has like the giant elder dragon kind of thing. You know, your Lao Shan or your like Sharish Valda. Like, can we? Like, I mean, you can mount Sharish Valda. You can mount Safi Jiva. So can we do a wyvern riding?
It's never gonna be like that.
That would be amazing.
That sounds a bit
that
too
would
much
be
fun.
Good.
There's never gonna be like that. We're gonna probably try to hit it once, and then like you try to get on it, you just die. Like
that's really interesting, because the whole mount system now is about attacking monsters with each other, whereas like a lot of those hunts are a solo monster encounter. So are they gonna throw in a few other monsters for you to use against it, or are...
Well, it makes sense. You know why? Because you know they've spoken about the whole rampage system, and they said they'll speak more about it later. But we saw from the trailer there's like 5 monsters like charging towards you. Now it makes sense in how you're going to fight 5 monsters at the same time, because you're going to go and Silkbind them, take control of one of them, and then run them into the other ones, and basically have monster battles while using the siege weapons in rampage mode. It's basically going to be like monster battle royale. It's going to be jokes.
We ain't monster hunters anymore.
We're monster
We're Pokemon trainers now.
So overall, what are we thinking about the game? I'm thinking it's going to be like a very good Monster Hunter game. I was scared the first hour or two or day that I picked up the game that we're going to be stuck with this game for however long until the next Monster Hunter game comes out. But like the more that I play of it, the more that I've like noticed it's more about intertwining your Silkbind moves and with your normal like moveset. The more I've come to like it, and the core gameplay is like super fun. And there's, you know what it is, like I haven't even said this, like just all the things surrounding the games, like the aesthetics, the characters, the world, 10 times better than all the other Monster Hunter games that I've ever come across ever. I just think it's cool. I think the main menu music is 10 out of 10.
Yeah, beautiful.
I think I don't know, it's a very cool game. I even like the voices. I know a load of people out there are gonna say that they hate the voices, but some of the lines are just hilarious. Like, I saw a video this morning where someone was dashing a bomb at somebody, like at one of the monsters, and it was like, "Hey, I brought you a new hat." Boom! So like, there's like really jokes lines in it. So I'm like excited to see more of that stuff and more of the game. And
the whole game is like they've dialed up the anime side of it. You've got these crazy Silkbind moves, the crazy new mounting, like you say, even the aerial items that you can use, which even goes into the bow guns using like aerial ammo while they've like zipped into the air and all of that. So it's a lot more like flashy and like visually engaging to play. The Palamute's really, really cool. I love that you can like drift around and boost and run up the walls and all that kind of stuff. So for me, out of comparing it specifically to World or like Gen, the whole gameplay feels very fluid. It feels very it does feel like a step up in that it's not quite Hunter arts, but the Silkbind moves are they're like little Hunter arts in kind of a way, and I really like that about it. So it does feel a lot more, like I say, anime, which I like. So
I think just the movement goes without saying, absolutely amazing. I'm a big fan of platformers and just movement in general in games. So when you can do sick tricks, wall flip into hang into like, you know, barrel jump into barrel bomb into like Silkbind again, you know, I love stuff like that where the movement just gets convoluted and you can do these crazy like long strings of like jumping about. So that's like 10 out of 10. I like some of the improvements on the weapons, like I said. Heavy bowguns looking absolutely sweet. Light bowguns looking even better. Hunting horn, need I say more? Yeah, literally. So, really liking the look of that. The main thing I'm interested to see, or before that, weapon designs. Glad to see there's a plethora of weapon designs back. 10 out of 10. Thank you, Capcom. Like, beautiful. Welcome back. What's it called? But then the thing I'm interested to see is just how the items, like the kind of like endemic life plays out. I'm interested to see if there's anything more. Those little like buffs that you get around the map. I want to see other maps and how they do it. Because like one other small criticism real quick was just like I was saying like it would be nice if those like little buffs you get were on the beaten path as opposed to off the beaten path. Just because then it would feel like you're kind of almost leveling up and getting more stuff as the monster moves through the map. You'd be like, you know, just naturally thing. There are some stuff on the beaten path, but if there was more,
I just feel like those buffs are going to be redundant and it's going to be parts of like armor sets anyway towards like the end of the game. The blights and stuff, I'm like 100% feeling like my rationale is like. I was talking to these guys, they're like, no way they're going to be on the weapons, but like all the other endemic life stuff, aside from maybe like the lore into the area, is stuff that you can apply using your weapons anyway, usually, like in other games. So hopefully they have like the Thunder Blight on it and it works similar to a status so that we have like way more variety in like sets and stuff. So
I hope like there's two sides to it. I would love them to do that. It would just make the game more fun and elemental builds way better. In the notes, and again, it's the demo notes, so it could not be true, but it specifically says like there's two things that cause it, which is the endemic life and the monsters themselves and the mount attacks. So from the notes, I can't get my hopes up.
What they say in the notes?
Yeah, it just says those.
Yeah,
two
but then
things.
again,
it's a demo. Like, you know, it's demo notes. You know.
Yeah. And demo notes don't show everything, right? You know, so I mean, obviously, like the Silkbind page has only got 2 moves, and we know the weapons have got more than 2, right? So, like, you know, there could be additions and stuff. So we'll have to
but just to jump back
I'm
really quick,
Oh,
don't sleep on endemic life, guys. There's some of those buffs are so good. Like we've tested them, we've checked it out. Thunderbug, amazing. The water beetle. Really good as well. We're talking like high percentage bonus damage, talking like KOs with any
Paradise goes
really
with
good.
his like informative self in a review video, isn't it? Like,
just like
anyway, we don't need to know about that. We don't need to know about that. Right? That's enough. That's enough. They're good, right? We know they're good. Check out the video if you want to see them. I'm really enjoying the game. I'm super loving it. Look, I'm just saying it, right? I can see this becoming my favorite Monster Hunter game. I'm loving
he says
this
that
game.
every Monster Hunter game.
He says it every time.
Don't believe his hype.
Don't let him hype you up.
I can't believe you snuck that in after roasting Paradise.
It being my favorite game, right? And like, I'm just, it just ticks the box for me. Like, I love the movement as well because for me, the movement kind of does what like did like in Breath of the Wild, where it's like, hey, you want to go somewhere, just climb it. It's like, you want to climb that cliff, yeah, you go there. Like, I love that freedom. I love it. Like, you know, now the more time that I spend with it, the more that I realize that even though the base foundation of the weapons are very similar to what you know of world, the Silkbind and just the Wire Bug gives you enough new ways to use your weapon that it definitely feels new and stuff. So I'm really enjoyed it. I'm super excited for like the new monster designs we've seen from the trailers. Like, I cannot wait to see the armor sets and the weapons from those ones. So yeah, I'm very excited. Safe to say, we're loving the game. When we play some more of it, we're going to bring you guys loads of videos. But for the time being...
So, wait. Just a quick question to leave out for the comments.
Sure.
If you guys... Alright, this is going to be a little controversial question, right? But the controversial question for the day is, and you guys can reply in the comments, if you didn't like World or whatever, and you're a GU or a old Monster Hunter fan, why are you liking this game so much? Considering it's very similar to World, a lot of the movesets and a lot of the stuff is very similar to like the way that World is. Is it because it's on Nintendo Switch and a platform that you're familiar with? Is it? I don't know. Hit me up in the comments. I really want to know. I want to know your opinion.
Cool. All right. Sweet. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to have another discussion coming up soon, talking about some other cool stuff. So, yeah, catch you in the next one.
See you guys.
If you want to catch more from us at Arekkz Gaming, don't forget you can catch the guys 269, Paradise Central, and Investmore streaming over on Twitch weekdays, playing a variety of games. If you guys want to jump in, tune in, watch, and even join in, then make sure you check them out. The links to those are in the description box down below. And of course, you can join the Discord to get involved in all of the discussions.